Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I am actually jumping back on the FA20 WRX block with the BRZ original head cylinders and everything. And so far what I found out is that before I left to Florida, the pistons, when I rotated the motor, was knocking every like half rotation. It was like smacking something. So I pretty much had to figure out, now that I'm back, like what was it hitting. All right, so as you can see, the FA20 motor is torn back down. I took the head cylinders off, took the cams and everything, took everything off. These are brand new head stud bolts, so while I'm testing out this next theory, I'm gonna use the original bolts that came off the motor, just so I don't have to keep messing these up or anything. But what I was trying to mention before on the head cylinder, now these are original BRZ FA20 FRS heads. These little pieces right here, like these little indents, the pistons were actually hidden right there. I can see if you can see. Yeah, you see that little nick? And then right there. And it was sitting in pretty much on both head cylinders. So my next plan of attack is right here is going to be take the heads off and everything are cool. And I'm going to try to see if I have one head gasket, that this one is brand new, and then this is the old one that came off. If I double it up like this, and if I double it up like this, would it give it the clearance that the motor needs so that the pistons don't touch the head cylinders at all? So if this works, I would try to go ahead and pretty much get a thicker head gasket set for the motor. But if it does not work, then plan of attack will be is to send these to the machine shop and shade these little indents out, because that might be one difference between the BRZ FRS head cylinders to the WRX FA20 head cylinders. They may have this piece already ported out and cleaned up, which will kind of like also lower the compression a little bit, but giving the clearance for the pistons that it needs to move up and down under rotation. So yeah, I'm gonna try that first. These right here, these ends was pretty much knocking against it. Let me see. Yeah, see, it comes up a good amount. So that being said, these are probably what's hidden. So maybe doubling up on gasket is enough. Maybe it won't be. Let's try it out. All right, guys, the passenger side head cylinder is back on. Like I said, I did reuse old head studs because I don't want to really damage the new ones. So I'll have to put in. So pretty much to show you the difference, before, every time I was given rotations, you will be hearing it clanking pretty much about this position here and about this position. So like pretty much every half rotation, she was banging out pretty much every time the pistons were at that top center. But now, with just one of the head cylinders on and doubling up the gasket and just giving it that much clearance, right there was enough for the pistons to have enough room to where they're not smacking the bottom of the head cylinder. And obviously, I'll show a comparison on what it sounded like before when the engine was fully assembled. But yeah, as of right now, all I gotta do pretty much now is go ahead and like take the head cylinder back off, caliper the two head gaskets together to see like how thick they are, so I can order a head gasket probably just a smidge thicker than that, and then pretty much clean everything back up and reinstall, and the motor should be good to go ideally. So yeah, let's see what happens. Yesterday the gaskets finally did arrive. I did order the Grimmspeed gaskets that these come out to. I want to say is 1.45. Yep, right here. almost 1.5 millimeters of thickness once the gaskets are down and compressed and everything. Pretty much once you have the head cylinders torqued down, that's pretty much the thickness of the gaskets altogether. Well, these, for anybody wondering, this is Grimmspeed. This is like rumored to be like the best head gaskets to buy for Subaru engines. So at this point, I guess we just have to see how true that is. Jeez. This is just one of them, but look how thick that is. It's like 5 layers together. So essentially they did the same thing I did. They just took a bunch of head gaskets, what it seems like, and just put them together. Hopefully this is one of the only hiccups that it has to put a FA20 out of a WRX into a BRZ FRS. If this is all it takes, then you know it's pretty simple. What I'll do at the end of, towards the end of the video, I'll go ahead and put I'll add this link to this to these gaskets in the description, and I'll even add the part number and everything, so in case anybody wants to look it up. Now remember, they do have 3 different options. I went with the thickest one, which is a 1.45 millimeters. They do have a few that are a little bit thinner than that. The only reason why is because when I doubled up the head gaskets and I put them on the motor, they measured out to about a little bit shy of 1 1/4. Their middle option for Grimmspeed was actually less than 1 1/4, so I didn't want to take the chance of it being just that one hair where it made a difference between the engine and or the head cylinder and the pistons touching. So I just went with the thicker option just to be safe. For anyone wondering, that is what almost 1.5 millimeter space looks like between the block and the head. Just that little bit can make a difference between this motor out of a WRX smacking the shit out of the head cylinder or not. Both head cylinders are on. Everything's back in timing. Everything's ready to go. In a comparison from how it sounded before. Nothing. Not a single click, bang, hit, nothing where it shows any kind of issues. Like I said, you can see how thick the gaskets are on both sides, but it gave it just the amount of clearance that it needed to where the pistons are no longer hitting the bottom of the heads. This morning I did get a lot of the jobs already done to where, as you can see, the complete harness is on, the intake is on, all the fuel, everything's connected. The only accessories that I have left is to do is the AC compressor and the alternator, but I'll put that on after the engine's installed. When I got this motor, there were a couple of these little plugs in the back that the original owner of this block took for the new block that he was assembling. So I went and ordered that. So if you guys end up finding one that was kind of in a similar situation and you have to get those plugs, I pretty much got it from IAG, and it's pretty much FA20 WRX oil plugs for the rear and the rear main seal. So I did go ahead and swap out the rear main seal. This whole entire area was really black and dirty, so I kind of just cleaned it up a little bit, put the 2 new plugs in, put the seal on, and I'm just letting this plate dry up a little bit more, and then I'm kind of like tying it down, and then put the flywheel, the clutch, and everything back on. So pretty much the only thing left I have to do besides the flywheel and the clutch kit is throw the headers on, the motor mounts, and then pretty much that's it. She's ready to go back inside the car today. There are some differences as far as this rear hose that goes to the intake. This like pretty much this crankcase breather. This was kind of located a little bit more in a different position, but it doesn't affect how it's being thrown on. So everything is pretty straightforward.